Welcome to the Success Partner Podcast. I'm Daya Naef, your host and founder of The Success Partner. On this show, we dive into the stories of attorneys, business professionals, and entrepreneurs who have navigated the ups and downs of building successful careers and businesses. From the strategies they've implemented to the challenges they've overcome, we're here to uncover the insights that can help you on your own journey to success. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the Success Partner Podcast. I am your host, Daya Naef, and today we have in the studio Sherry Rellan. Sherry Rellan is a business advisor and an M&A advisor, and that is so exciting. I so enjoy being sort of on the periphery of that world and learning more about it. And Sherry, just introduce yourself. Tell us what kind of clients you work with and a little bit more about what you do.
Thank you, Daya. I am Sherry Rellan. Hello to the world out there. I have a background of over 20 years of corporate accounting experience, and I've enjoyed it very much throughout the years. But then I pivoted, or I kind of fell into. I'd say it wasn't on purpose. I fell into M&A work, and that was probably 9-10 years ago that happened. And I don't do the deal. So most of the time when I say M&A, mergers and acquisitions, people immediately think, oh, the deal signing or just getting that deal signed and making it happen. That's not at all. I don't do that piece. There are many out there that already do that. So not stepping on their toes. Actually, honestly, wouldn't. I'm not even well versed in doing that piece anyway. So what I have, my experience has been getting a seller ready to be acquired.
Okay.
So whether that means making sure all of their processes, are cleaned up, or especially accounting, finance, the books look clean. Not that we're touching it or redoing it, but just the reporting. It's easy to understand when the buyer is looking at documents, understand what's going on. So getting them ready. I also work with the buyer side too, so I don't discriminate seller buyer. So uh, so due diligence, I've been involved in that, and strategy, and then skipping over the deal to post M&A integration, which is my favorite part of
I
that.
love that. I love that. Share more about that because I don't think our listeners will immediately understand the value.
Yes. So M&A integration. So basically what happens is after the deal is signed, then what? What do you do? And I have to say that every merger acquisition, it's a unique process. So I'm not knocking people who've written M&A books. Here's how to do this, and here are the steps. It's nice to have a very general guide and direction, but every transaction and integration that comes afterwards, and to what degree you want to integrate. Sometimes you don't integrate everything because it may not work for that specific deal. It's unique. You can't have a specific roadmap and that applies to all. It's not one size fits all. So what I do is I go in there and I say, okay, well, what's the goal? What are you trying to get out of acquiring this company or merging with them? And based on that, then you decide and you look at, so integration, it's just not like one integration. It's actually multiple integrations. One for each department. You've got your accounting, finance. You've got sales, marketing. I separate sales and marketing. They're different.
They're different.
HR, benefits, the tech side, the infrastructure when it comes to email systems. I mean, even that, oh no, we have to go from Outlook to Gmail. I can't do this. I quit. Even that, something that you think that's that small. And also operations. There is a buyer that I have a contract with, and they do not. It's not their style to integrate operations. So while everything else is pretty much integrated, especially benefits, payroll, the accounting, to make it so you don't have redundant staff. But their operations, because of who they acquire, and each acquisition brings a unique service product, and includes that in their offerings and the buyer's offerings. Because of that, it's actually wise to keep the operations separate and keep that expertise. So it's a separate business unit, but accounting, marketing, HR, benefits are all integrated. It's just operations that kind of reports up, but keeps their expertise in that business unit. That's one example. Um, I don't know if that's clear. I know that for me, it's like, oh, okay, you know, eat, sleep this, and there have been times where, just let me know if I
Yeah,
need to further
I get that.
get
So
clear.
right. So like, what is some of either the benefit of, or the benefit of doing, or the detriment of not doing, or in like working with a professional like you?
That's a very good question. So there are, I want to say almost every company, every buyer and seller, when they're involved in that transaction, they just feel that we just need the professionals to get us through signing the deal. And then afterwards, we know. Yes, you do know. You have the organizational knowledge. No external team has that knowledge that you have, as either on the seller, not just the buyer side, seller side, obviously, because there's some processes, you're also integrating processes that the buyer needs to learn from you. And actually, a buyer in when my research, a buyer said that we need to learn from the seller, learn their processes. How else do we integrate and make sure that we're all benefiting? So, while they know and they have that knowledge, but they don't always have the time to integrate. So that's why sometimes they either don't integrate or halfway integrate, or it's like 5 years in and they're still not integrated. And imagine the cost they could have been saving if they were integrated. So with what really needs to get out there is first, they need to, well, there's a fear of huge costs. Oh no, for example, Sherry Rellan's coming in and then with her team, and we're going to pay X amount, and it takes a year, and it's going to be so much money. Not necessarily. The way I operate is that I've learned that I don't think I would not bring in people to action, like an external team, to actually do the integration work for this buyer and seller. What we would do is we would allocate several, for example, I'm just going to use accounting finance. Let's say now that's a team of, let's say, 15 accountants, after the acquisition. So you have a few from the seller, some from the buyer side, select a few, depending on the size of the company, and they will allocate a portion of their time working on integration. It's not like a 24/7 thing. And
Okay.
you can't speed it up, because then that's when you have people who are unhappy, scared. Oh no, changes. You have to manage that change.
Hmm.
So a year, let's say, a year to get through the accounting finance integration. So they're working still. You're paying them. They're your full-time employees. You're paying them. You're not paying them extra for the integration work they're doing, but they're doing the integration work slowly and methodically. And I'm not. I'm there as the advisor, handful of hours here and there as needed. I check in. And that way you're not paying for a million of my hours, but you're utilizing your own team to integrate. I'm advising them. You don't have to worry about it as senior management, just get status updates. And the cost isn't that high because I'm just advising and guiding them.
I love that.
Well,
And they're getting empowered and buy-in, and finding to be part of the process. They're not being
exactly.
just told what to do and, hey, you guys all get along. Yeah, you see certain times when a company will buy another company, and they don't think about the people, and they don't think about the long-term plan, and the other advisors walk away, cash the check, and it's done. But not like if you're buying a house or buying a car or something like that. Yes, it's pretty much done at that point
Right.
where you close. But when you're buying a business and integrating a business, like really the deal, like it really just started.
Right.
at the closing table. And you could definitely see companies just go right under. The culture falls apart, people jump
Absolutely.
ship and all that. So it seems like there's like a lot of psychology or sociology in the work that you do.
It is, and and I have to mention this because I don't always do it by myself. So when I'm speaking, I'm in my head when I was speaking about this, I'm using an example of a company with, let's say, 400 employees, buyer side, as an example, is purchasing another company that's like 50 employees, and you've got humans there.
Mhm.
It's not just, you're not buying desks and chairs. It's humans, and that makes it very complex because what happens, it's a very thin line where people get scared on the seller side, employees, and they may leave, and they're taking that knowledge with them that that buyer paid for.
Mhm.
It's not just, services, who's providing these services, for example, products, who has the product knowledge,
Mm. Yeah,
people.
people.
So what happens is that it is a very sensitive, phase also. So you have to be careful and manage the change so that people don't freak out, basically. And I'm never afraid to bring on other experts. For example, someone, let's say on the marketing side, I may have an overall knowledge and I can probably guide and use the knowledge from both sides to advise them. But then there's times when I would need to bring in a marketing expert to lend a hand, or an HR expert to lend a hand, or etc.
Yeah,
List goes on,
makes
which
sense.
I wouldn't hesitate to call on any experts if it's needed. And again, their time is a handful of hours. It's not, because you've got the teams there. That's the whole point, to equip them with what they need to continue on after the integration is done.
Awesome. Wonderful. How do people find you to learn more?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, and I think I am the only, if on LinkedIn, I am the only Dr. Sherry Rellan.
Okay.
So there's one option comes up.
One option comes up. Okay. And we'll have the link too in the show notes. But Dr. Sherry Rellan, it actually, let me see, I
And
just
my website,
pulled you up a
my
minute ago. Yeah, CFE actually. So you have a prescript and a postscript.
yes, so yes, I'm a certified fraud examiner, which
So
is
cool.
very helpful for due diligence. I have an eye for things, and so that's been very helpful. And actually, it's a passion of mine. So
Talk about getting things right, right?
and I have a website as well. So it's shazmconsulting.com, SHAZM consulting.com. And another one thing that has been a challenge is to convince companies that it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. You do need this. It's one of those services. It's almost like I need an infomercial for this.
An explainer video, definitely.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there's research. There's good research there. My research was kind of different than the other academics, and that bridging that research, bringing that information to the industry is something that just doesn't happen automatically. So that's also one of my efforts. That hey, it's not just experience; it's also research. And here it is. I'm planning on having a blog on my website so that people can talk more about it, like an interactive blog. So working on that.
I love that. I love that. And like one more question. So who is usually the party that brings you in? Is it the owner, one of the advisors?
Usually, so it has been the owners. So there's been some word of mouth. Um, uh, you know, People talking, oh, you could talk to Sherry. But I believe that other people in the industry, especially, I'm a big believer of collaboration. Other people, other companies that actually specialize in M&A integration. I have to say, I did a quick search just so I can see, hey, has it changed much? The results of my search, M&A integration companies who provide that service. I saw two very large, accounting firms that or consulting firms that provide that, very large, and then a smaller one, and then not much else. So it's I'd love to collaborate. We can get a lot more done together. So share experiences and knowledge so that anyone in the industry could be someone who could be able to bring me in. There's so many. I enjoy meeting people that, oh wow, you do this. It's very important in the M&A world.
Makes sense. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sherry, for coming on the show today. And thank you, everyone who's listening. This has been another episode of the Success Partner Podcast. I am your host, Daya Naef. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned.
Thank you so much for having me. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Success Partner Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and found some valuable takeaways to apply to your own business journey. Remember, this show is brought to you by The Success Partner, where we help small law firms and business owners achieve unparalleled success through strategic guidance, operational excellence, and effective marketing. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, visit thesuccesspartner.net to learn more. Until next time, keep striving for success, and I will see you in the next episode.